Look around. You can find cars like these on AutoTrader, like that car riding your tail. Or if you're tailgating right now, all those cars doubling as kitchens and living rooms are on AutoTrader too. Are you working out and listening to this ad at the same time? Well, multitasking pro, cars like the ones in the gym parking lot are for sale on AutoTrader. New cars, used cars, electric cars, maybe even flying cars. Okay, no flying cars, but as soon as they get invented, they'll be on AutoTrader. Just you wait. AutoTrader.
Top of the morning to you. Welcome, beautiful people. This is the facility. Hey, if you are awake this morning,
Put it up.
What we got?
Wardrobe malfunction. These are they not shining when it's covered? But it's shining. When it's not covered, it's shining, but it's covered. It's can't really.
This is
So leave it uncovered, now, Joe.
Shady look
They
great.
actually tried to cover up the chest, though.
Leave it open. I work out.
Hey, y'all could be watching any show. You're hanging out with us. We don't take it for granted. It is a Thursday morning. Beautiful here in Southern California. A beautiful day if you are a Pacers fan. Not so great if you are a Thunders fan, but a great day nonetheless. That's James Jones. James, what's the word?
Man, what's cracking, man? You know what I mean? I know you feel good
I
today,
feel
man.
great.
The Pacers
Haliburton in there, triple-double.
had a good game.
Pacers up 2-1.
You know,
I
he the
feel
best player in the
phenomenal.
world again.
Is Haliburton back to being a superstar?
You know what I'm
Hey,
saying?
Because he was and then he wasn't.
You know,
Act like he never.
So wait, I got a question though.
Yes,
It's
sir.
like every time like the underdog guys win, they get me so excited. Like, I'm so happy. Do you like the underdog story?
I think there's something to that, Shady. Everybody heralds the budding stars, the superstars.
You with the Texans though.
Already been stars.
Like if you watch NFC,
That is true. He act like he went to San Jose State.
He be going for people like your little school, that tight school. You went to that little small school.
See,
You go for them.
see.
But you went to Texas though.
I said it respectfully. You said it. I'm going to tell you the real. He be feeling good about his takes when he been preaching for somebody.
Hey, I have a lot to feel good about today, right there with the Pacers fans. They took care of business last night, and we are currently halfway to one of the biggest upsets in the history of the NBA Finals. Remember, the Pacers were given no shot, not just by America, given no shot by several people at this desk, but after Tyrese Haliburton scored 22 points and the Pacers outscored the Thunder by 14 points, it is looking like the Pacers might do the unthinkable, the unimaginable, and pull off the upset. I'm joined now by the one and only Rachel Nichols. NBA analyst, NBA basketball mind extraordinaire. But Rachel, before I can talk too much to you.
Yeah,
Wait, can I say hi to Rachel first?
Go ahead, sir.
Looking good.
Yes, get that out your system, because though what Shady just said there was accurate, what Shady has been saying up to this point about the series has been wildly inaccurate. Colvin, do we have the sound, sir? We don't have the sound.
we doing this today?
No, it's fine. It's fine, because here's what I do need to do. Yesterday, James, you said something. You said that if the Pacers go up 2-1, that you might have to fix some things. Yeah. Is it fair to say you owe the Pacers an apology?
Yeah, be a man. Be a real man.
Be a real man and apologize. Well, yeah, yesterday I did say, man, if the Pacers win this game, I got to put some respect on their name.
Yes, sir.
You know, because I've been disrespecting them, not giving them a chance to win this series. And I said, if they go up 2-1, I will have to put some respect on their name. So I do apologize, because I thought this would be a gentleman's sweep. I did not think it would be close. And the Pacers are saying, watch this. And they went out there yesterday, from the star players to the bench players to the coach to the fans, and they went to work. And they beat down, no, I won't say beat down, but they beat the OKC Thunder, and they played extremely well, man, and they did what they've been doing all year long. Bench players, Tyrese Haliburton had a good game, 1 out of 2, but it mattered. He had a good game, but...
He said a lot.
He
said a lot. But you didn't say much. Are you apologizing?
I did say that.
He said he
But I'm saying for...
See what I'm saying? See
No,
what I'm saying?
no,
He ain't listening.
No.
I'm glad Rachel's here, because he ain't listening. I said I apologize.
He's always getting locked up. All right, so real quick, so you apologize for...
Disrespecting.
But wait, why are you giving me the
I'm trying to... Hold on.
Because Shady's name is also on
Because
it.
first off,
Sorry, I don't see Acho on that bar.
you know what I'm saying?
I didn't even see the bar.
First off, in court, we sitting right next to each other.
Well.
You trying to act like you ain't missing.
I only listen to Rachel here on basketball. That's it, not y'all. So, Rachel, I'm going to say this. I don't apologize.
Oh.
Yeah, so I was thinking the other night, right? Because I knew you had this type of thing in there.
Of course.
What you do.
Last night?
Last night. After the game was over, they lost, right? And the Pacers up 2-1.
Gosh.
And I'm sitting there like, man, do I owe them an apology? Because I think that the Pacers are not the better team.
Yeah.
They're not the more talented team, right? I think that the MVP, SGA and his Thunder are. And I still think they're going to win. So what am I apologizing for, Rachel? I think they're going to win the series. And the thing is, it just happens to be a little longer than I expected.
Yeah.
That's all.
A lot longer at this point in time.
I don't know about a lot or little. I just know it's going to be a little longer. Or it's going to be longer.
No
Not
doubt
little
about
or a
that.
lot, it's longer.
Here's why I would suggest, though, Shady, you owe the Pacers an apology. Tyrese Haliburton out there, again, we questioned him.
Well, I don't know if we owe
22,
Tyrese
11.
Haliburton an apology.
At this point in
Pacers.
time, through three games, Pacers are up 2-1.
Yeah.
Haliburton is a driving factor in that team. He has a game winner. He has 22, 11, and 9. We will get to Tyrese Haliburton later. For now, that was a mundane and a mediocre apology, but we will move on for the sake of time. Pacers. Good win or terrible loss by the Thunder? Rachel, want to start with you. Good win by the Pacers, bad loss by the Thunder.
Good win by the Pacers. This is the paciest example of the Pacers pacering that we have seen. This is how they need to win. Rick Carlisle talked about it after the game. They need to play nearly perfectly to win in this series, and they did that. Think about all the things that that the Pacers do well, right? Yep. So this is this team that sticks with the 10-man rotation. The bench players play, which means the bench players have to play well, right? And they outscored the OKC bench. This is an incredible stat, 49-18. That just, that's overwhelming. This is a team that makes its money forcing turnovers. They forced the Thunder into 19 turnovers. And at least 3 of those, James, were those pick 6 turnovers, right? Where just the receiver was not ready.
Behind the head,
right?
you just chased it.
Like that Prescott type pitch you talking about.
We'll talk about that later, Shady.
Later in the show. But right, like you can't let them do that. That was just sort of boneheaded, and that's what the Pacers were doing. Tyrese Haliburton, very aggressive. So in the first 2 games combined, he had 9 first half points. In the first 2 games combined, he had 12 just last night. So that tells you sort of him ratcheting it up. Again, this is how the Pacers need to win, and they hit it on all cylinders last night.
I think it was an incredible Pacers win. I couldn't agree with you more. Incredible Pacers win for several reasons. Number one, what the Pacers are doing in this series when they're getting their wins is what they've done to get to this series. They are out-coaching the Thunder, at least up until this point. And I can tell that based upon the fourth quarter adjustments and the second half adjustments. In the fourth quarter, the Pacers have outscored the Thunder 35-25 game 1, 33-30 game 2, 32-18 game 3. They are out coaching the Thunder. That's one reason. That's why the Pacers are here. That's why the Pacers have won 2 games thus far. And then when I think about it last night, the Pacers bench, Rachel alluded to it, but I found this fascinating. The Pacers bench was plus 40 in that game. The Thunder were minus 25. The Pacers won that game on the bench. Didn't necessarily win that game by the starters. The Thunder's best 2 players and the Pacers' best 2 players really a wash. Pascal Siakam had a good game for Pascal, not a great game. Tyrese Haliburton had a really good game. But meanwhile, J-Dub had his best game of the series by far. And Shea had an okay game. It was an okay game. He had to work hard for his 24 points. That game was won by the Pacers' bench. So to me, it was a phenomenal game by the Pacers. And I'll leave it like this, because Shady and I, 2 weeks ago, Rachel, we went to watch the 25th year anniversary of The Matrix. So we went to watch the first Matrix. And Shady, I remember there was a quote.
Did you dress up?
We did. Well, I did. Shady's always fly. I remember there was a quote in The Matrix, if y'all remember watching it at home, and Morpheus says, anyone that we haven't unplugged is a potential agent.
Yeah.
Essentially, anyone that they haven't unplugged, the agent has the ability to jump into the life of a human being. And I was thinking about this Pacers team. Anyone that steps on the court is a potential star. And that's what makes the Pacers unique. It could be Benedict Mathurin. It could be Obi Toppin game 1. It could be Pascal. It could be, in his own way, T.J. McConnell getting 6 assists and getting 10 points. Anyone that steps on the court for the Pacers has the potential to be an all-star. Anyone. And that's what we're seeing. That's why, to me, Shady, it was a really good Pacers win.
Yeah. So who's Neo in this series?
Supposed to be Shea.
I didn't say, I asked you who's Neo.
Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, sir.
The one. You know what, though? I do give a lot of credit to the Pacers. They played phenomenal.
They did.
And maybe it's the style of play that I just can't really gravitate to, right? The whole, college type game plans and all the, you playing 10 players and everybody has to contribute for them to win. But it's working for them.
Yeah.
Watching them play, even this whole playoff series, right? This one, the finals, the whole playoffs, they compete. Every time OKC got some type of intensity going, they go on a run, they weathered that storm, and they answer back. Oh, you score, we gonna score. You get a defensive stop, we get a defensive stop. And I'm watching like, man, when the OKC makes a turnover, right, or forces a turnover, they do the same thing on the other end. And I'm thinking like, this is the same team, just that one has more star power than the other one. Because when you ask guys to play their roles extremely well, the Pacers have that. You ask a guy to come off the bench, right, like TJ, give me something, he does that. Benedict, he does that. And then Haliburton, hey, man, you haven't been super impactful. Yes, the first game, you stole at the end, but be aggressive this game. He was aggressive.
Yeah.
Everything you need this team to do, they're doing. That's why I do give him a lot of credit. It's just hard for me to think that the Thunder's going to lose. And just because I watched them in the same situation, being down 2-1 against the Denver, against a 3-time MVP, and a well-coached team, and a team that had some experience, championship DNA, I seen it. And they came back and won them games. So I'm giving the Pacers some love because they deserve it. I don't hate. I keep it honest. They played well as a team. And they're coached so well.
Yeah.
Rick Carlisle, you deserve your flowers, dog, because you are out coaching everybody. Yep. Get what I'm saying? Everybody. So I give them that credit. I just think the Thunder will win this series.
James, you said something fascinating. Before you go, I want to throw you an alley-oop, and I'm actually curious. You said that through watching the first 2 games, the Thunder are just better.
Wasn't close.
You I just don't see how the Pacers can win. They're just better. We've now watched 3 games, maybe 72 minutes of basketball. Do you still see what you've been seeing, which I never saw, but you say the Thunder just been dominating the whole series. Do you still feel the same way?
I mean, Game 3 helped a little bit, but I do still feel the same way. Because I was watching that game, number one, it was a great win by the Pacers, but I was watching that game. When J-Dub hit that 3 at the end of the third quarter and they went up 5, I was like, the Pacers can't coach no better, they can't play no better, and you're down by 5 going into the fourth quarter. I'm like, if they don't win this game, they're not going to win no game. That's how you got 49 points by the bench. The best player on the court last night came off of the bench and was giving bucket after bucket after bucket and hitting threes when they need. I'm like, I don't know how they win a game in this series if they don't finish this game off and win this game. And kudos to them for finishing that off. Haliburton hit some big shots. The bench was absolutely great for the Pacers. But I still feel like when they take this court, I do not think they're on the same level as the Thunder. I just don't. And they played their tails off last night, but you see that happening again?
Of course.
Hey, Rachel,
of course.
I want to ask Rachel because
But what he's saying, though, Shady, has to be addressed.
But I'm saying,
how much longer will y'all continue to say that the Thunder are that much better than the Pacers? How much longer can we ask? Do we
you see them outscoring the bench of the OKC Thunder like they did last night again?
I see it looking different. Remember, Obi Toppin Game 1 had 18. Mathurin didn't really make an impact. Mathurin and T.J. McConnell in Game 2 both scored in double digits, but some of it was garbage time, if you will, the final 4 minutes of the game. James, I do see it happening again. It's just going to be a different name on the back of the jersey. I think that's what we have to start to digest is it's just going to look different, but it's going to be the same result. How do you not see that?
Just call me crazy because that's tough for me to believe.
Right. Well, I like James Tate because sometimes he rocks with me. So, Achos everywhere.
Yeah.
But Rachel, I want to know, do you think it's over for the Thunder?
No, I don't.
Thank God. My bet's still alive.
No, but I do. But here is what I think. I think that people are waking up a little bit to just how good this Pacers team is, that they didn't get here by a fluke. It wasn't like an easy walk to the finals. And it is my opinion that the longer this series extends, even if the Pacers lose the series, the more foolish the Knicks look for firing Tom Thibodeau on the basis of losing to this Pacers team. And look, I want to make it very clear, the Knicks fired Tom Thibodeau for more than just the loss, right? I mean, there were a lot of institutional reasons, the way he runs things, that led to that decision. But the bottom line is this is a results-based business. You take your team to Game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals against a team that we are now seeing has the mettle to go toe-to-toe with the Oklahoma City Thunder, who some people thought was just sort of the best team in the league, not only this year, but in a while. How does that make the Knicks look? Mm-hmm. So I just think the more the Pacers do in this series, the more people in New York should start asking some questions.
Well, speaking about coaching, because you mentioned Tom Thibodeau, when I think about coaching, the difference in this series to me is coaching. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know, Rachel, if Thunder fans, because if I was a Thunder fan, I would not be able to forgive the fact that in Game 1, though we were 12-4 in the playoffs coming up to this point, we made a change to our starting lineup, even though the Pacers did not. Mm-hmm. I would not be able to forgive Dagnall for that. That made no sense, and that already said kind of what Shady said, giving flowers to Carlisle, that already told me the Pacers have an advantage. Because you're 12-4 starting Hartenstein, Chet, Dort, J-Dub, and Shea. Why in the world, as a heavy favorite, are you going to adjust?
And you're the big dog.
And you're the big dog. Like, when Shady stepped onto the field before he was about to route up a linebacker or anything, I'm not going to change what I'm doing. I don't care who I'm going against. It could be Urlacher, it could be Ray Lewis. You're going to have to stop me, and then I'll adjust. But why are you, Dagnall, going to let the Pacers' reputation intimidate you? It's an unforgivable sin. A completely unforgivable sin, especially down 2-1, because now what do? Do you put Wallace back onto the bench? Do you start Hartenstein again? Do you try the two big man lineup? Make them adjust to you. If it's David versus Goliath then run up to David and now start throwing slings. You're going to have to throw these slings at me, David, and hope you hit. Like, I'm going to fight you as a big dog, how I fight.
And I agree with that just because, man, hey, it hasn't been working. Go back to what you know. Go back to what's more comfortable. Go back to when you were winning.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? I would go back to that lineup, as the regular starting lineup. But something you were saying, Rachel, I agree with you, though. Because I'm one of them guys that's guilty to say that I didn't look at the Pacers as like a legit team.
A legit finalist.
Right? Oh, okay, they beat the Milwaukee Bucks. I didn't think much of the Milwaukee Bucks. Not coached well.
That's without Dame, too.
And they got Dame's out. You got Giannis by himself. Okay, cool. Then you go to the Cavs. All right, number 1 seed. Let's see what it looks like.
Yeah.
Guys are injured. Right? You beat an injured
players.
team. Okay. And then I respect the New York win, right?
Yeah.
Even though how it may look. First game, you up by so many points and you lost that game. Maybe it's a fluke. But they beat them.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I said, you playing the Thunder, we gonna see what's going on, okay? And they rumbling with them. So now it's like, you know what? I was wrong. They are a better team than I thought. And I look back on it, so now when we look at once the Thunder win, we're gonna say, well, it was a good fought matchup because the Pacers were a really good team. So that was good insight saying.
And not only that, though, because you said something that was interesting. Did you watch the two big lineup yesterday? Because when them boys was on the court together, it was not good for them. They was getting them boys in pick and roll, and Hartenstein had no answers for none of them dudes. So I kind of credit the coach for that. And I know it didn't work out the way he wanted it to work out, but as you're watching film, you're like, hey, man, Hartenstein ain't going to be able to stay. Because that might have been their worst lineup.
It's not that you're not right. And it's not that Dagnall may not have been right. That's not the dilemma for me. The dilemma for me is if I'm the big dog, prove me wrong. Prove me. When you went to the Super Bowl, James Jones, y'all didn't all of a sudden start only running out there with 2 receivers and say, oh, they got Troy Polamalu back there. Oh, they got Ryan Clark and Ike Taylor back there. You said, nah, this is what we do. We're going to keep doing it. And if all of a sudden Troy Polamalu starts strapping y'all up, now you might adjust. But y'all got there for a reason. If I'm the big dog, I'm going to play like the big dog.
To be honest with you, the Pacers is doing what we did against the Steelers. They big dog is the 2 bigs lineups, and they getting them boys in pick and roll. We watching the TV at the Super Bowl, and they like, Troy Polamalu is going to have something to say about this game. And we sitting over there like, the game plan's to go at Troy.
Right.
Whoever on their signal, you get, that was the game plan.
Right.
When those 2 bigs are in the game, you see the game plan. Ball here, come on, screen them, and we getting Hartenstein or one of these bigs and pick and roll. They can't be on the court
Here's
together.
my dilemma,
Not if
Rachel.
OKC
When I'm
on
watching, I'm like, Wallace to me hasn't made enough of an impact to justify the change.
Well,
he hasn't made enough of an impact. So when I'm looking at it, like, if you wanted to start Caruso for whatever reason, and now, mind you, you would lose that extra juice that comes off the bench.
Oh, you're saying who comes off the bench?
Yeah, correct.
Okay,
but I'm
I agree
like,
with
Wallace
that.
in replacement of Hartenstein, he just hasn't made enough of an impact. If he was having a Mathurin impact, if he was having an Obi Toppin game 1 impact, if he was having a TJ McConnell impact, bet. But Wallace on the court is a non-factor. He's a non-factor to me offensively. He hasn't been much of a factor to me defensively. He's just taking up space. Yeah. So if it was a substitution that was actually like doing something, I'd be like, okay, bet. But why would you? You're the big dog. To me, Dagnall already got in his head and just let Carlisle intimidate him before you even had to step on the court. Final thought.
Well, no, you're in good company with your opinion. Charles Barkley went off on Dagnall after the game. And he said, he's like, oh, these coaches think they're Red Auerbach. He said, you know, they're trying to make changes to make changes. You know, you do exactly what you said. You know, go with the lineup that brought you here. I actually do agree, though, with James. Sometimes you have to look at the matchup. I do think the problem with changing your lineup, even if it's the smarter move with the matchup, is it does throw your players off. And the Thunder have gone through a bunch of lineups this season. They are used to playing with different lineups, but still, this is the NBA Finals, and it sort of, you know, affects the confidence a little bit. Like, oh, do we have to change? What do we have to change about ourselves? Like that kind of thing. Or, oh, is it going to change again? that sort of thing.
Let me
So
ask you
that to
this.
me is where the problem, less than the
change,
strategy.
Can they change back? Because
Yes.
Shady's made a point, I made a point. But now you look even crazier.
No,
Because
no.
now you almost look like you're waffling.
We see lineup changes
Yeah.
in NBA finals, right? Andre Iguodala, like we've seen all kinds
But
of
I'm saying
coaches make
this would be
adjustments.
2 now. Like I've obviously seen 1.
Yeah.
But if you now you were exposing the fact that you were wrong. Like, because if you change the lineup in game 1 for game 1, and then by game 4 you're down 2-1, then you change it back. Now doesn't that
Trying to
kind of
win.
I'm sorry, did the Thunder not win game 2?
They did.
They did.
Okay, so how
But
wrong?
because many people would, most people probably would have thought it's more likely to be 3-0 Thunder right now than 2-1 Pacers.
Okay, but the lineup, look, again, they may tinker with the lineup for the next game. Absolutely. And that could be something they should do. But I wouldn't say that anyone's scared of being wrong, only in that, first of all, they won a game starting that lineup, and it's only 2-1. It's not like, that they lost a million of these games. And it was the smarter X and O play. There's no doubt about that. The question is, was that X and O smart play worth it? Was it worth it to do that because it disrupts a lot of what got you here? I don't think if they change again, it's going to be like, oh man, that's embarrassing, or oh, everyone's
trying to win. They're trying to win.
I think it's smart coaches make changes. Learn.
You've asked these questions. You sat in these media scrums, if you will, as one of the top journalists in the game for the last 30 years. If he makes this coaching change, and you're sitting in this auditorium, and he's up at the podium, and he announces the starting lineup, what's the first question you'd ask him?
Oh, well, why? Right? The first question is why? Yeah. Why? What did you see that made you do this? Why did you make this decision? Because he obviously didn't make the decision going into the series. So what changed? Look, we were talking in the pre-show meeting. Y'all were giving opinions on, who was it, Patrick Mahomes or someone, about winning Super Bowls. And I, look, if you don't learn from experience and you don't add to your game in terms of what you know, that's the most embarrassing, right? If you don't learn from watching Patrick Mahomes win all those Super Bowls, that's embarrassing. Yeah. So if he's learned through these 2 games, he has to do something different, that's fine.
Yeah. Hey, he should phone a friend. Hey, Rachel, hit him up. He need help.
Even on when OKC was on offense, did you see what the Pacers' game plan was? When Hartenstein was in the game, when Shea got the ball, he turned his back. Yep. They flew off of Hartenstein because they know he ain't finna shoot it. Both of them can't be out there. He cannot switch back.
I will say this, real quick.
He cannot switch back to that lineup.
Is it me, or it looks like in the fourth quarter, the Pacers' energy shifts, and the Thunders don't. Because they was doing so many stupid, mistakes. Yeah. I remember they were up, end of the third quarter, they were up 5 or 6.
Yeah, when
and they scored, TJ scores, and then Cruz throws the ball, and he steals. I'm like, yo, why are we rushing?
A lot of stupid turnovers.
But this is a football
Not
thing
crashing
too,
the
right?
boards. Tomlin had that putback. I'm like, the energy's changing because their energy is changing.
Yeah. Okay, but how much did coaches say to y'all growing up? You got to close the quarter, right?
Yes.
Especially with the first and the third, right? So everyone's a little hyped up before halftime or before the end of the game, but the first and third, you have got to win the end of those quarters because that is where things slip often. And the Pacers are great at that. They're great at that for all 48 minutes, and they're, of course, especially great at that at the end of games.
No doubt about it. Well, Rachel brought up Patrick Mahomes. That's who we'll discuss next. Some people have him ranked as the 4th best quarterback in the NFL. He's back-to-back years having mediocre regular seasons, but he's still gone to the Super Bowl. Is it time for Mahomes to again prove that he's clearly the best quarterback in the NFL? Don't forget, check us out every day. Fox Sports Channel, Sirius XM. Mahomes in the Super Bowl last season, but still finished with career lows in passing yards and passing touchdowns. NFL analyst Chris Sims recently ranked him as the not first, not second, not third, but 4th best quarterback in the National Football League. Fourth. 3 ahead of him. Including the likes of Josh Allen, who did win MVP last year. Lamar Jackson did win MVP the year before. Mahomes, the last 2 regular seasons, emphasis on the word regular seasons, has struggled. But Shady, is Mahomes still clearly the best quarterback in the NFL?
First of all, who said, is Chris with us?
Sims.
Is he with us? Is he with Fox?
He's not on Fox.
I like Chris, so I ain't going to go crazy. But this is what I'm saying. We need to start having elite players talk about elite players. Just think about it. If real talk, I'm not trying to, I'm saying, him saying that, imagine if Patrick Mahomes reads that. And he says, who said that? You have an elite conversation about an elite player, and you not that. It's hard to really understand that. I would be upset if freaking, who's the running back that wasn't that good that you played with?
You're not going to indict me.
Yeah, what? I would be very, very highly.
He should have said 2-5.
Anyway, this is crazy. I think Patrick Mahomes is clearly better than all the other quarterbacks. one of my good friends is Josh Allen. I love Josh. If we talking about talent conversation, that's something different. People might not like that conversation, but if we talking about talent, Josh Allen, we can have that. The whole 2 hours if you want to talk about that. We're not talking about that. We're talking who's a better quarterback. And there's one quarterback since he stepped in as a starter. Okay, I'm the starter. I've only seen an AFC Championship. That's the worst I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. And the best I've seen is Super Bowl.
Yep.
And then the last part is, how can these guys be better than me when we play on the big stage for all the money, when the chips is all the way on the table, there's no more money up, I'm out of money, out of my pocket, I always win. Yeah. How you better than me? Yeah. At your best season, at my worst season, you don't beat me. When your team is at their best and my team is not at their best, I beat you. When we don't have the advantage at the home field advantage and you do, and we got to go on the road for all the playoff games and they count me out and they doubt me, I still beat y'all. And we having a real conversation about who the best quarterback in the league is. Yeah. Forget the quarterback. This is his league. Oh, this is his league. That's a bar. And everybody knows that. Any player that out here running around talking about this and third, they know it lives and dies with Kansas City. Mm-hmm. The Eagles was the best team last year. Yep. In my opinion, easily. Talent-wise, roster-wise, best team. And the question was, do they have enough to beat the Chiefs? You get what I'm saying? So I just hate this conversation because it really kills the fact of being elite. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. When we talk about elite quarterbacks, you're not comparing yourself with nobody else but Patrick Mahomes. I think it's super disrespectful. So, yes, he is clearly the best quarterback and the best player in this league.
Yeah. There's tiers, right, to quarterbacking, and I have tiers. I don't have this for me. But it's Mahomes is a whole tier to himself. That's how I feel. It hasn't changed. Can you believe Mahomes has almost been in the league a decade? It doesn't feel that way because of the consistency in which he's played. He's been to 5 of the last 6 Super Bowls. He's won 3 Super Bowls. He's been to 7 straight AFC Championship games. Forget about the stats. Yeah, he threw for 3,928 passing yards, career low. Yeah, he threw for 26 passing touchdowns, career low. Who cares? The way that Mahomes and Andy Reid has been able to evolve offensively since he took over as starter, I believe it was 2018, has been what we need to talk about. Because back in the day when they had Kareem Hunt, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce in his prime, they were an explosive team. He was averaging 8.8 yards per attempt. If you don't know the yards per attempt number, if you're not a quarterback, that means he is throwing the freaking football down the field. Huge plays time and time again. Look at the last 2 years to where it's evolved. And I think this is what makes him so great and him stand out. He has not had the firepower to throw the ball down the field. So what has he had to do? He's had to get better at the line of scrimmage. He's had to get better at audibling. He's had to get better at checking the ball down. He's been efficient. He's been effective. 6.8 yards per attempt last year. It's not very high. I don't know the numbers, but I guarantee it's not even top 20 in the league. They're not throwing the ball down the field, but they didn't have Rashee Rice last year. Yeah. They didn't have a full season of Hollywood Brown. Yes, Travis Kelce is coming a little bit slower, right? But it's just so hard to be on that mountaintop when everyone around you is trying to knock you off, including Josh Allen, who won his first MVP. You know what Josh Allen's record versus Mahomes in the playoffs is? 0-4. So don't talk to me about somebody being better than Patrick Mahomes until someone is able to knock him off the mountain, which I don't see happening.
Who said this?
Chris Sims.
And he's not an elite player, or he was elite?
What you think?
No, I'm saying
why you asking?
I don't know Chris's career.
No, he wasn't an elite player.
Okay. You know elite players, don't you?
Player. Was Peyton Manning an elite player? So I don't care. Peyton Manning said this is stupid. This is stupid.
But at least you're going to give it a little thought.
I ain't going to give it no thought. I'm going to say Peyton tripping, man. He must have been coming off the golf courses, you know what I mean, had a good time or something like this. This is a stupid take. For real. You know what I mean? Because when you talk about Patrick Mahomes, because when we sit up here and we talk about quarterbacks, we talk about winning, right? That's the most important thing for the quarterback. We talk about winning, right? Because we could put stats up there for anybody and make them look good. I argue about Aaron Rodgers all the time. So we can put stats. So with Patrick Mahomes, we talk about winning. I'll never forget Aaron Rodgers said, at my worst year is some of y'all's best year.
Oh, that's
Patrick Mahomes should have said that line. Because this man, since a starter, ain't never not seen the AFC Championship game. And we are sitting here talking about a quarterback that has never not seen the AFC Championship game as a starting quarterback in the National Football League, and we talking about he's the fourth best quarterback in the NFL is absolutely crazy. And I don't care how it looks. Does Patrick Mahomes know how to throw the ball?
Yes.
Is he special at throwing the ball?
Very.
Does Patrick Mahomes know when to run?
Yes.
Is he special at making plays for his football team?
Very.
Especially when the game is on the line?
Very.
What are we talking about, man? There's nothing Patrick Mahomes cannot do on this football field. Patrick Mahomes has overcome injuries as a quarterback with his roster and still been in the AFC Championship game. Patrick Mahomes had really good rosters and won MVPs and been in the Super Bowl and won Super Bowl. Come on, man. We just, a couple months ago, was talking about this young fella three-peating.
Never been done.
Something that has never been done. And we are sitting up here having a conversation about the fourth best quarterback. Y'all, look at me. The fourth best quarterback. Like, he ain't even say, like, Josh might be taking over and he might be he's
like
the
Josh.
fourth best quarterback. That's crazy.
Let me ask you this,
man.
though. Let me ask you this. Because let's disregard Sims for a moment and let's focus on the question we have on our screen. Is Mahomes still clearly the best quarterback in the NFL? And the word clearly doing lifting. Obviously, I agree with y'all, but for the sake of pushing back, for the sake of trying to take this conversation to further places, you know what you hear, right? You don't get a second chance at a first impression. Patrick Mahomes' first impression is that he is by far the best quarterback in all of football. Chase, you said, I don't agree with this, but you have said, and a lot of people agree with you, winning is not a quarterback statistic. So if you were to suggest that winning is not a quarterback statistic, and if you were to watch several of the Chiefs games last year, and you were to watch those Chiefs games in which defense held them to this point, defense blocked a field goal here, defense blocked a field goal there, is the fact that the Chiefs were so successful last year, is Andy Reid still clearly the best coach in the NFL? Sure. But if you want to simply jump to quarterback wins, for people who don't subject themselves to quarterback wins, then you could bring up a Jalen Hurts conversation.
Yeah.
Because Jalen Hurts has seen Patrick Mahomes 4 times in their career, 2-2. Jalen Hurts won the Super Bowl, in which he clearly outplayed Patrick Mahomes. When Jalen Hurts lost the Super Bowl to Patrick Mahomes, he outplayed Patrick Mahomes. Jalen Hurts has beat Mahomes in the regular season, and he's lost Mahomes in the regular season. But nobody would, in their right mind, or maybe you would, but you would get just lambasted by the national media, say that Jalen Hurts is better than Patrick Mahomes. So is it not fair to ask, is he still clearly the best?
It's fair, but that would not be a right question to ask. It's the greatness of Patrick Mahomes is so much more than wins are a QB stat or wins are not a QB stat versus stats versus what. It's the high level of production, both statistically and team wins, that he's had almost over a decade. We can talk about Jalen Hurts or Joe Burrow having a year or two that is good. This guy has been, since he started and since he had that, I think his 50 touchdown first season in 18, he's been the best he's already being mentioned as the best quarterback or second best quarterback of all time because of not only the stats he has put out, but how consistent he's done it. It's unlike anything we've ever seen other than Tom Brady.
You're talking winning.
In everything. Stats, too.
We're talking about Patty like he don't got talent.
No. I'm saying
he has the stats, though. The last 2 years, I would push back and say he hasn't had those stats.
Yeah.
But he hasn't had the team around him like he did with Tyreek and all this stuff. Yet he's still been able to win at an extremely high level. Let me ask you this, and Shady, chime back in on this conversation when you deem it appropriate. Let me ask you this, because Josh Allen is the one person, and maybe Lamar Jackson, but let's talk Josh Allen because he most recently won MVP. That's the one person who you could suggest muddies the picture. Josh Allen has not had elite-level talent on his offense. He just has not. Yet he won MVP last year. The year before, Josh Allen did not have elite-level talent. Remember, Stephon Diggs started to tail off towards the end of that season. I think it was Shakur who led that team in touchdowns. James, correct me if I'm wrong, receiving yards. True. But again, if you're talking winning, of course, if you're talking winning, it's Pat. But then if you're talking winning, you have to mention Jalen Hurts. But if you're just talking talent, if you're talking statistics, if you're talking MVPs as of late, because obviously if you're going back the last decade, it's all Pat. But if you're just talking right now, I think you could suggest Josh Allen maybe makes you have to put your glasses on and say, is Mahomes still clearly?
Well, Josh is a great player. That's why you say that, right? And I've been saying that even before the MVP. I showed how great he was. But let's just break this thing down. So winning is a quarterback stat.
I agree.
There's a reason why you have average quarterbacks with average talent that play well, right, that we consider really, really good. That's why they get them big contracts. Brock Purdy ain't like no great player, no great talent, but he wins.
Yeah.
You gonna say I can name players like even Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is a good quarterback, but the first thing you gonna say about him,
He wins.
he's a winner. Yeah. And it's like you have the greatest running back of all time, right? But that don't necessarily mean he's gonna win. You can have a good quarterback, you can win.
Yeah.
So winning is a quarterback stat. But the thing I love about Patrick Mahomes, we never give him a break as far as when the wide receivers ain't there, the tight ends getting older, things don't look the same. Because when you win that many games, you play a long season than other teams.
Yeah.
Right? Every year I'm in the AFC Championship, that's extra time. Super Bowls, extra time. They don't make excuses. When we talked about Josh Allen, my boy, we say, yo, does he need more help? We've asked these questions all around different platforms. Lamar Jackson, we've asked, yo, he might need more help. Who's he throwing the ball to? He did that in the third. You ask these questions. Joe Burrow, does he need more help on defense? We don't ever say about Pat.
No.
You know why we expect him to do that? Because you are that good. So maybe your defense ain't the same. Or maybe your wide receivers was hurt, then the number 2 receiver was hurt.
Running back hurt.
The running back's hurt. You know what? Do it with the backups.
Yeah.
Do it with the third string wide receiver, make him your number 1. He don't make excuses. We don't hear that.
Yeah.
Because he's that good. So when we ask these questions about if you need more or he doesn't have as much, that's for guys not the elite, as in Patrick Mahomes. All them other quarterbacks are great quarterbacks. Lamar Jackson's one of my favorites to watch.
Yeah.
Josh Allen's my young brother who's a beast.
Like that.
Joe Burrow's phenomenal.
Like that.
But
Not
they
bad.
are not Patrick Mahomes.
And really quick, because I think it is clear, right? We're all coaches up here right now. If you're starting your franchise, who you taking that
Come on, man.
quarterback?
Come on.
Say his name.
Patrick Mahomes.
Who you taking?
Of course, Pat.
Who you taking?
15.
So it sounds really clear. And if anybody was up here and said otherwise, we would be looking at them like they tripping. It's very clear.
But here's why it's either clear or it's lazy. Because there is an argument to be had, and Shady and I have stood on the same side of this argument of, if somebody said they're taking Josh Allen, I wouldn't argue with him.
I would say you're crazy because you're not going to get through Patty to win no Super Bowl.
Is Andy Reid the head coach? That's what I would suggest. If somebody said they were taking Josh Allen and Andy Reid's the head coach, I would be like, I actually think you're getting to the same place. Well, to some degree you are, but then you also know, we went back, you watched the Texans game. The Texans game ended because Andy Reid dialed up a pick route to Samaje Perine.
We cannot take none of that away from this
You can't.
dude.
But what I'm simply suggesting is if somebody wanted to take Josh first and wanted to bring up the Andy of it all and wanted to bring up this Spagnuolo, I'd be like, you know what? I'm not going to call you I'm not going to call you crazy.
But we're talking about Patrick Mahomes like he doesn't have the accolades and the stats.
Yeah, he has all of it.
Whatever you want to argue about, he has.
all of it.
So it's not like we're saying Brock Purdy or somebody in this conversation that don't have the accolades, but he's winning more than Josh. This dude is beating you head to head. He has all the accolades. He has all the talent. We're talking what we talking
How
about.
many Super Bowls Josh Allen got?
None.
How many Super Bowls Lamar Jackson got?
None.
How many Super Bowls Joe Burrow have?
None.
How many Super Bowls Patty Holmes have?
I think 3 and counting.
3.
And counting.
End of
Super Bowl for each of
conversation.
them.
Yeah.
This is my great dog.
This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. Between two-factor authentication, strong passwords, and a VPN, you try to be in control of how your info is protected. But many other places also have it, and they might not be as careful. That's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats. If your identity is stolen, they'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit LifeLock.com/podcast for 40% off. Terms apply.
Brock Purdy got a massive 5-year deal, but now it's about the work he does on the field. Keep in mind, though, some of the offensive stars like Christian McCaffrey coming back from an injury, Brandon Ayuk coming back from an injury. Chase, when I think about the loaded NFC, but even if you think about the division, a team like the Rams, they added Devontae Adams, they still got Kyron Williams, you got Puka Nacua. The Eagles, they still are stout out there. The Cowboys, they got help. Russell Wilson, he's now joined the Giants, there's help over there. Have the Niners given Brock Purdy enough help?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I know they did a purge of a lot of really good players this offseason. And I liked it. I thought it was good for their team. Sometimes when you have these vines and these flowers, right, you got to cut some off for them to grow even bigger. And I think that's sort of what they did. They got younger everywhere across the board. They were an older team. Look, and this is a team that's had success. Last year, difficult year for everyone. A lot of injuries. Purdy didn't play as well as he wanted to, all this stuff. But when you look especially offensively, there's no way you can say he hasn't got enough help. CMC, probably top 3 or 4 running back, 2 or 3 running back in the league, right? Behind Saquon, I got him up there with the King Henry. You have Brandon Ayuk, who is healthy. Now, those are two question marks, right? Like, Ayuk and CMC, they got to get healthy. If they're healthy, they're some of the best receivers and running backs in the game. Juwan Jennings, the best number 3 in the game. George Kittle coming off a career year. Trent Williams is still there. Offensive line still intact. You still have one of the best play cards. Yes. Yes. To say the least, they have absolutely given enough help. And this is sort of a pattern for Kyle Shanahan teams. Once you lose in the Super Bowl, you miss the playoffs. Now, if they miss the playoffs back-to-back years, maybe we can have this conversation. But Brock Purdy, 7th highest paid.
I'll keep it quick.
Enough help.
I don't think they're giving them enough help at all. They're giving them enough help monetarily, but if you throw that full screen back up there, Colvin, that does not look like Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua, Kyron Williams, especially with CMC being in Germany half the year last season, and Brandon Ayuk coming with an ACL. Ricky Pearsall, he got shot. So, to me, that don't look like enough help. That doesn't look like George Pickens, CeeDee Lamb. That don't look like Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. It don't look like Deebo Samuel, Scary Terry. It don't look like none of them cats. If they're healthy, I'm with you, Chase, but they're not. Ayuk's coming off a torn ACL. McCaffrey missed all of last season. They're just not healthy. If they're healthy, sure, kind of. But that don't even look like what the Rams got going on. I say no.
You want them to build this super team, huh?
Yeah, I see almost all pros.
That's what I'm saying.
I see all pros. Yeah, a better question should be: is Brock Purdy giving the Niners enough help? Because when we talk about the Niners at their glory days, it was a Niners team, and Brock Purdy playing his little role. Correct? I mean, stop me if I'm wrong. Kyle Shanahan is great off his line. He'll run the ball well. Deebo doing some great stuff, and you got Brandon Ayuk, and then Brock Purdy is, hey, don't mess it up. I mean, stop me if I'm wrong, James. I keep it 100 over here, man.
No, I'm actually with Acho, man.
He need more help?
Yeah, they should have.
Oh, get some more all-pros.
They should have went and got GP. They should have went and got T. Higgins. They should have went and got DK Metcalf.
Super team!
Hey, Myles Garrett's on the block for a little bit.
It's littered with all pros.
Hey, what's the DN for that?
I was like, no.
The Bengals? Could have got help. You know what I mean? You're right about that. Yeah,
Ayuk is hurt.
Bro. I forgot one because I was mad. They should have went after DA.
yeah.